All right, Michael Wasserman from Tiltify. How's it going, man? Good to see you.
Good, man. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. I've asked everyone to stay outside during while we chat. Just
Yeah. I will also note, just in case I don't quite know how it looks, but my fiance gave me a haircut this weekend.
oh,
No,
it looks great.
no, she is not a hairdresser
Yeah,
or barber or any
yeah,
type of hair stylist person.
yeah. It's funny. I was sharing with someone. I've actually been I started cutting some teammates' hair in high school on the basketball team. And so I've got a little bit of know-how. And so I've done my son's. And so he's got like this kind of Brian Bosworth thing going on with like the high fade into a V in the back. And so
Yeah.
since, we don't have the same conduct rules around hair with school right now, we're taking some chances and doing some funky things. So she didn't go that far. You don't look like Brian Bosworth or any other 80s athletes.
Yeah.
So, hey man, I'm really excited for us to be able to chat and talk about Tiltify and some of the things that are happening, how you guys are navigating COVID and what that looks like in your world. But just at the outset, can you share for our audience how your journey has gotten you here? Like what did that path look like for you to get to today and be in this space?
All right, I'll give you this super truncated version of that one, which is very strange and completely unexpected, as probably most companies that get started. So, long story short, I was actually a musician when I moved to LA. Went to Berklee College of Music, played guitar, did film composing. So, very weirdly, from that, moved to LA as a musician, was doing music for movies. Very weirdly, got into producing movies because I was good at organizing things and raising money.
Okay.
Um, um, so started doing that, and then there was, while I was waiting for a movie, the latest movie I did to come out in theaters in 2006. Um, a friend of mine asked me to help with a children's hospital about having celebrities come by and be part of the fundraiser. And I did it, and I got some cool celebrities to come by, and they raised a lot of money, um, utilizing those celebrities in various ways. And then there was a writer's strike following that in 2007,
Yeah.
and then the recession in 2008. What was interesting because of all that is people that knew that I had done that started calling me from other charities asking me if I could do similar things. Long story short, I ended up getting a lot of my film career kind of wiped out with layoffs and different things happening from people that I knew at the studios. Raising money became very difficult from a movie standpoint, and ended up opening my own consulting firm to initially help people with celebrity interactions for charities. But I had started internet companies when I was really young. So I was very familiar with the internet. So also started doing digital strategies and then throwing a lot of events because I produced some large movies that doing a black tie gala and putting all that
Sure.
together seemed natural. So I started doing all of those things with my own company, which eventually led me to um, good success there. And then a client saying, do whatever you want. And this was like 2011, and I threw a celebrity video game tournament for charity with Zac Efron and Michael Strahan and Snoop Dogg and all these guys, and it became really popular, and everyone had a lot of fun. And then other people started reaching out to me about gaming things. And then I met the guys from Twitch. And I saw what they were doing with videos like 2012, 2013. And basically that was sort of the light bulb moment of there needs to be a platform that addresses the new telethon. The fact that anyone can do a telethon anyway, anytime, at the time there was people playing games because that's all you were allowed to do on Twitch. But I was like, this is like, platforms need to adjust to this. There's a whole thing here. And, me and some of my friends basically decided to go all in. And I think by 2014, I closed down my consulting firm and said, let's do this. This is what I want to do.
Go all in on the tech.
Yeah.
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 So.
And you guys have, I mean, you do have an incredible partnership with Twitch. And I want to talk more about this aspect of live streaming and um, the modern telethon
Yeah.
aspect, but it's also evolved rapidly, especially in the last 4 weeks, as to what
Yeah.
live stream fundraising is. So, uh, this idea of digital transformation used to be this huge, lofty idea that people would kind of put on the back burner, but kind of talk about. Sometimes organizations, if they were super nimble, could prioritize, or if they had a nice influx of capital from their board. But now we've all transformed because of COVID. Like
Right.
immediately, we've all transformed. What has that transformation look like for the team at Tiltify since March 11th, and what is it, what do you think it looks like in the next, I don't know, 90 to 120 days for organizations?
I mean, for us, it's been extreme volume increase. um, we are working with, at least 5 new charities every day. A lot of people that I've been talking to for years that were interested in this, and frankly, some of them that weren't, have come out and said, hey, that thing you were talking to me about, can we do that sooner?
Yeah. Yeah. It makes more sense now, right?
Yeah, it makes more sense now. So we've seen, I mean, I've always said to organizations and believed pre-COVID that you're going to need to do this at some point soon, regardless, right?
Yeah.
Charitable fundraising platforms, pages were very basic. They were a donation button, some text, and a picture. They didn't really have, technology hadn't really adapted on fundraising platforms that much. On the back end, yes, what you can do with data. On the front end, no. And they weren't really working with now 80% of the population on social media. They weren't really addressing that new part of the world. Right. So that's really what Tiltify was designed to do. And we're seeing now an influx of people saying, obviously, okay, I have my cycling event, run walk, gala, whatever it is, obviously canceled. How do we work with you guys and give our users a digital experience that is more engaging than just saying, okay, you can't do it, but you have this page. Yeah. And that's really what we're trying to do. So we're seeing obviously a huge influx of that. But the other thing that we're seeing that's really cool is a lot of the ideas, some of them that we had put out that people should do, and some of them that we didn't even think of, which is the majority of fundraisers on our platform we didn't think of till we saw them, is the creativity that we're now seeing of all people from, music. Quiz shows are popular now. People are doing online quizzes with people. Just a lot of like Brady Bunch style, right. Talking heads kind of, live streams. Just a lot of more people getting comfortable with coming into somebody else's live stream, which I used to have those discussions with other celebrities, agents, and different people. Sure. Trying to say it's not difficult, join a live stream, virtually, get involved. And now it's just like everyone is sort of saying yes, yes, yes. Yeah. And, we're seeing it all over the internet.
Yeah, you guys are, it's got to be a little hair on fire. And you're right. I mean, I was having the conversation with some colleagues just in terms of in the live music space, with concert venues and the amount of artists that are now streaming that are also using that as opportunities to make an ask. Even something as simple as that, of things that we haven't considered in the past, that people were being super creative about tip jars, or the same thing with, service industry, getting out of the nonprofit space a little bit, some of them tying back to nonprofit organizations. You shared with me earlier that you work with more than 1,300 nonprofit organizations right now, and you're a small team. And so, the folks don't just come to Tiltify for the live stream experience. There are some other aspects of the product and solutions that you have around e-commerce and event management, right? It's not just the live streaming aspect.
No, so what's been really cool is we designed certain features because what makes live stream fundraising successful is interaction, right? So you want to be able to engage. So we created donation polls and something that we call rewards, which are essentially incentives that the fundraiser can say, donate $25 and I'll write you a thank you card, or I'll do this. We created milestones of, I'll get to this amount of money and I'll shave my head. All this sort of fun stuff that interacts. And what has been happening, but now has been even more accelerated, is people say, well, I'm not live streaming, but can I still use those features? And it's like, yeah, sure. You can say, like people have said, okay, I want to have a milestone that I'll upload my old MySpace picture to my profile page if I get this amount of money, right? So you can visually start putting those things. We've seen people use our reward system and just essentially sell charitable products. Like this one guy created a bunch of plushies for St. Jude, and he didn't live stream at all. He just used our rewards system because you can quantity control, take shipping addresses and all sorts of stuff with it. He essentially just sold plushies with 100% going to the charity.
Yeah.
So people are seeing a lot of those interactive features and just utilizing, whether they're using video, but also, or live stream, but also the idea that we connect with a lot of social platforms in general, right?
Right.
A lot of this, so we look at it as more like, it's gone from sort of live stream, which is sort of a category of what I'd say content creation, to all content creation.
Correct.
So people who create content. So Tiltify has grown to sort of a place where if you're a content creator, whether that means you're creating live streams, videos, interesting posts, we have unique tools that help work with that. And we also work with all the platforms that we can in unique ways, and are slowly building more and more of those to make that a more seamless opportunity.
I do like that aspect, that it's about empowering the content creator with different tools. So the question that you were asked earlier, or that you said that you're being asked quite a bit now, I want to ask you that question. So so if I have an event that now all of a sudden is canceled, it was scheduled for May or June, and I immediately want to make the shift. How in the world does someone get started with enabling both the strategy, but then also the tools to pair with it? Like, where would you tell a person in a development team from a nonprofit to start?
Sure. So, I mean, it's not too difficult once you get into it. It's just sometimes daunting to change everything. And we've seen that with a lot of charities, right? The idea of changing is daunting. So we've been working with, for example, a number of organizations that have already started registrations on, XYZ platform, which is the platform that they're using, whether that's Classy or Donor Drive or Blackbot or whatever it might be. And they want to get into using these sort of, our tools because they had to make a switch. So what we're seeing a lot of is, one, we definitely have the ability to take those events that have been created. So sometimes they have all of these sort of walks planned that they want to make virtual now. Sometimes they're all over the country. Well, we can take all those categories and transport them into Tiltify to then create those as virtual events all of a sudden, that somebody who wants to fundraise underneath them can choose from sort of a list. So we can set them up that way. We can set them up with similar registration and have people obviously do a sign up into our system, which they need to do obviously to accept the privacy policies and the terms and conditions. We can't just import people's data without their permission in order to do that. So people do have to do a sign up, but we can get them very quickly set up. And really then we create, we have sort of template walkthroughs of how our tools work. And we customize those really quickly for that charity. So we can walk through and be like, cool, we'll make a walkthrough of somebody who's signing up for your event to show how they can use the tools. We have a lot of video examples. And the good thing is we already have a bank of like info@tiltify.com is this, FAQ bank that we already have of how to use our features. So we find that it takes a little bit of massaging to get people who had already signed up for an event and already expecting to use a page. Because some people, like, they're used to the donate button being here and now it's here. Sometimes, it's like there's always little differences. Like our platform and any two platforms are not necessarily the same.
Sure.
Where the account, button was now moved. So, we just kind of have to sort of tell the charities, like, that's going to happen. It's happened before when people have moved programs to Tiltify. It'll happen now. Yeah. But once people start getting used to it, we find that people are the fundraisers are really excited about it because they now have access to these new tools. Because statistically speaking, there's 2 billion people on YouTube. There's 20 million a day on Twitch. There's 2 billion on Facebook if they're using that. There's all these social channels that people want to create content on,
Right.
And now they have the ability to do that. So but we've done it with some people as fast as 2 weeks.
Yeah. And it's really about, the getting started. It's almost the mental hump of mapping out, okay, here's here's my workflow process to get something set up within a technical tool.
Yeah.
And then you get to that tipping point of, okay, let's be creative. How do we make this something where we can just jump on, and start leveraging content that we're creating, or creating new content, or tying in people from, our corporate partnerships team, or whatever influencer team that they may have. That's where that creativity starts to kick in. What are some of your favorite examples that you've seen, especially in the last 4 weeks, of things that people are doing to leverage live stream fundraising to raise money for nonprofits?
Wow, there's been so many cool ones that I've seen recently that, it's always amazing to see things that we've never seen before, because that's the great part about working with people who create content, is you don't tell them what to do. They just do stuff, and then we use them as examples later.
Yeah.
Use our site. So there's this group of Broadway actors that does this weekly charity live stream now for the Actors Fund on Twitch. That's really awesome. That we keep watching, who are super engaging. We've seen Aisha Tyler does this thing on her Instagram Live where she does sort of bartending and makes drinks with someone in chats and raises money for charity. I'm just trying to think of all the. Obviously a lot of concerts, a lot of music stuff where people are bringing in other people. Dance battles are really cool, where now people sort of do this side by side, and be able to do that. We've seen those now. A lot of head shaving, which we saw a lot of before, but now I think if there was a head shaving graph, which also goes with I can't get a haircut, so
it's true. It's that's awesome.
There's just so many. Aloe Black did something yesterday for Avicii's charity that was really cool, and sang some songs and chatted with people. One of my favorite things that I've seen that isn't necessarily a charity thing, though, is just really a cool example, is the thing that John Krasinski is doing on YouTube. His Good News, I think it's called Some Good News, is a great example, by the way, of what a fundraiser could look like. Of bringing in all these people and making it cool and fun and easy. Yeah. So it's a lot of those things have been really cool to see how they've all come in with new things, and then things that we've seen but be amplified. Hope from Home was a really cool example of United Nations, United Way, and Red Nose Day coming together for World Health Day. Right. Stream Aid was a huge music event on Twitch, which is awesome, with John Legend and Charlie Puth and all these great people from around the world. So we just, the level of involvement has just increased, of everybody who we've always said, well, you don't because people a lot of times would say, well, I'm not a gamer, or I don't play games, because people thought fundraising live was about gaming. Mm-hmm. Really, that came from the fact that you could only do gaming on Twitch back in the day. Right. So all fundraising streams were gaming streams by default. That's no longer true. So people are now jumping in and going, oh, okay, I can just jump on and do anything I want. Yeah. And now we're seeing people actually take advantage of that.
And there's this wide range of lo-fi to hi-fi in terms of the production quality. So you take, for example, Krasinski and the Some Good News idea, which is a great platform for someone to think through, okay, well, how can I just leverage, sharing good stories and turn that into support for different organizations? But it's lo-fi, and he makes no bones about it. He's sitting at home, he's got, stuff that looks like it was drawn by his kids or whatever, so there's an aspect of that I love that we're all now more comfortable with. You see, Saturday Night Live do the at-home thing, all the, the nightly talk shows doing the at-home thing. It makes us more comfortable with the idea of bringing down that quality threshold and just starting, right? Just
Yeah.
getting on and being creative or being yourself and doing it for a cause, right?
And we've been saying for years actually that that's kind of the charm of it. People like seeing sort of the seams. People like seeing your dog run back behind you,
Yeah.
or your kid come in and ask you a question. It's like all the live streams that we've done over the years, we always sort of have to sort of calm people down a bit, that like, don't worry, there's no such thing as a mistake on a live stream.
Yeah.
You can't, it's fine. It's almost better, right? Because that's what people want. They want that that real connection of hanging out with you. And I think this is really just giving everyone that immediate crash course on what that is, and that it's easy. You don't have to spend, I mean, the production companies are going to hate me for saying this, but you don't have to spend hundreds of thousands or millions on production when you're doing a live stream, because that's a TV show. That's not what you're doing. I want to see so-and-so hanging on their couch playing guitar, right? Like just chilling. I don't need to see it all glossy and produced.
Yeah. Well, but that's our reality right now. And so it's back to the idea of, we have been forced into digital transformation, right? There's, we've seen examples of nonprofits who they're forcing their way into digital transformation in other ways. Maybe it's that they're increasing the language in their offline pieces to go online, because right now the caging companies are having a hard time keeping up of processing reply devices that are coming in. So, there's an organization that we work with that even sent a text to donors that were receiving, that they're communicating through mobile to people who are receiving direct mail to say, hey, I know you're getting this letter, but it would actually be better for us if you could go online and make this gift, because the money will get into our programs faster. And so our hand is forced, and I love that. And I love that it is showing the seams, like you said.
I mean, it's a terrible reason, the pandemic, but sometimes being forced to do something like makes you realize how important it is for you to have been doing this or need to do this anyway.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people are seeing now. And that's a lot of what we're saying to people is like, look, think of this as a positive in the fact that as a charity now, you're going to build a great digital presence, which you may have been behind on. And then when things get back to normal, with eventually they will, but in my opinion, not till 2022, then you'll have both.
Yeah.
But you'll have adapted to a lot of the cool things that are happening and a lot of the platforms that you should be on.
Yeah. So it's a good segue in terms of the platforms that you should be on. You were sharing with me that that there's some really exciting things happening with Tiltify. Do you want to maybe share with the audience some of the newest aspects and partnerships that you have in place?
Sure. So the one I'm most excited about and terrified, as I mentioned to you before, is that we are working with TikTok to launch what I think will be simply called donation stickers on TikTok that is coming, I believe, this week, that will allow initially pre-curated charities. So those charities already know what I'm talking about. Similar to how the Facebook rollout was, where at first it's being tested with a number of charities, obviously in response to COVID, but some really amazing charities that are involved in that. So content creators can make videos and live streams where they'll be able to create those, choose an option to create a sticker that'll be right on their video. So those videos that can be seen by millions of people will have a donation button right there that goes into an easy flow with our partnership, and they can, track amounts raised and do a lot of cool things. And that's just sort of phase one of what should be a really cool build of tools with, a really amazing platform that's getting visited by, I don't know, 600-700 million people a month now. Yeah. So we're really hoping that that's a really amazing addition to what's going on in the charitable space, in addition to, advancing our relationships with other platforms Always trying to do more with Twitch, with Mixer. We actually are launching a really cool integration with there's a company called Crowd Control that we've been working with that is building an integration with us that'll actually be able to mess with certain video games via donation while you're playing it.
Ooh, okay.
So literally, while someone is playing like Mario Brothers, if you can program it that like if you donate a certain amount of money, it'll switch like their A button and their B button,
Oh, that's awesome.
like in
Okay.
like real time.
Yeah. All right.
So it
So
really
it
affects
changes
you
the idea of
to,
choose your own adventure.
yeah,
Right.
where you
Yeah.
can actually donate and mess with their game. We're launching this with
interesting.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Right.
Probably by the time you're listening to this, it will be launched. And it's a really cool idea where for the people that do play games, and it works with a lot of cool old school games, like a lot of the nostalgic games.
Sure.
So it really lets you mess with people while they donate without having to actually have them do anything. It just it goes right into the development of the game itself.
And it keeps the engagement high. And I think that that's the thing that is so interesting about that idea is, if I'm just talking to you one way or talking to a crowd one way, that can be enjoyable. But one of the best aspects about the evolution that we've been on in the last 4 weeks and how people are creative and innovative is that they're seeking out the highest forms of engagement that they can to maintain human connection, right? So even if it comes down to, being able to switch your controls on the fly for folks once they reach a certain donation threshold, et cetera, that's a great way to foster engagement. Back to, the TikTok thing that you shared. I know that this is just the rollout of a small piece, but you talk about something that's really promising and you look at the rise of Facebook fundraising from a tool set. That's super exciting, man. That's really cool.
Yeah. And the cool thing about the TikTok thing is because it runs through our platform, you'll get the typical donation data that you would get as somebody donates because it'll be collected through our platform as it works normally.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, last thing, Michael, and then I'll let you run. Where can folks connect with you? How can they connect with you or members of the Tiltify team?
Sure. So obviously anybody can go to tiltify.com and track us down, but people can find me on LinkedIn, Michael Wasserman. People are even welcome to email me directly, michael@tiltify.com, or if you email charity@tiltify.com, you'll get to like our team if you need help signing up or just want to ask questions.
Very cool. All right, Michael. We'll catch up again soon, man. Thanks so much again for the time. I really appreciate it.
Awesome, man. My pleasure. Thank you. All right.
Okay. We're